The NFL trade deadline is slowly approaching, and Ryan Poles is 2 for 2 during his time as the Chicago Bears GM of making moves at the deadline, which there are a few players that have been linked to potentially being dealt from the Chicago Bears, which makes sense depending on their contract situation, how much they play, or what they mean to this team. So I hope that someone, if not all of these guys, get new homes at the deadline because I think they deserve it, especially a new chapter. And we might not get much, but it's better than nothing. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Rody, and as always, thank you for tuning in. Now, before we begin today's show, hit that like button on this video if you want Poles to make a move at the deadline to improve this team or get draft capital, along with commenting below your ideal trades for this Bears team at the deadline. And hey, if you're a Bears fan and want free Bears news and content, make sure to hit the subscribe button on this video in order to stay up to date on all Chicago Bears news and notifications. So let's jump into the biggest name that has been linked to being a trade asset, and that is running back Khalil Herbert, who's in his fourth year with the Chicago Bears and final year on his rookie contract, making $1.1 million this year. The 26-year-old is 5'9" and 212 pounds and has been one of the better running backs over the last couple of years until he practically wasn't used at all this year so far, which doesn't make any sense to me. But I'm going to go off his stats from last year because very impressive. According to PFF, a 77.9 overall grade, a 79.4 overall rushing grade, and a 67.5 receiving grade. A dual threat running back that can get the job done and move the chains. I like Khalil Herbert a lot, and last year was a lot of fun to watch. 745 total yards of offense, 3 total touchdowns, 611 rushing yards, 134 receiving, and a 4.6 yard per carry average when rushing. Clearly, this guy could move the chains. He knew how to find opportunities when the offensive line was pretty bad last year. And overall, he's been a good asset to the locker room. A lot of guys love him. Why the Bears aren't using him, though, makes absolutely zero sense to me. You would want him to be playing to show what he can do, to drive up his trade value, not leave him on the bench, give him 8 carries this year for 16 yards. And yeah, he has a rushing touchdown, but his value is not anywhere near it was last year. I mean, this guy could have been worth a ton, especially for a competing team that needed a running back on a 1-year contract, a cheap one on top of it, that they're going to be good for a while, maybe re-sign him. I'd just give a 4th for him, maybe. No. The Bears are now in a position which I just don't agree with how they handled this whole thing because he lost trade value. They'll maybe get a 6 if they're lucky this year, a 5th next year for sure, which honestly, both are pretty good options. Rather take the 5th next year, to be honest, because you get a little bit sooner. But it's going to be an asset in order to trade up and move. So you 2-6 for a 5th, or like a 6 and a 5th for a 4th, something along those lines. But that's where Khalil Herbert, trading him is a good thing because he gets a new opportunity to be getting playing time on a team. The Bears can then package up whatever they get for him and trade him off. And they don't have to worry about re-signing him, which they're not going to. So again, it's better than nothing for Khalil Herbert. And I wish him the best, but I would take anything just to get something in return instead of walking for free. The next guy I'm going to hit on today is someone that we'll be lucky if we get a next year's 7th for, and that's right guard Nate Davis, the 28-year-old who signed a 3-year, $30+ million contract with the Chicago Bears. Just isn't living up to the hype. 6'3", 316 pounds, 28 years old. His stats last year, because he's barely played this year, and they look very similar, is just not good for a guy that you brought in, especially to vamp up your offensive line. He got a 52.9 overall PFF grade last year, 47.9 pass blocking, 55.3 run blocking. Absolutely terrible. On top of it, too, in 663 snaps, 6 penalties, 1 sack, 7 hits, 29 pressures allowed. Just wasn't the offensive lineman we brought him in to be. And I understand that he had some stuff going on off the field. There's no denial about it. Losing a family member is obviously always a very big struggle. But this guy just couldn't get it together. He just couldn't play anymore. He's lost his love for the game. He's going to make over $50 million in his career by the end of it all being said and done. But unfortunately, Nate Davis it's time to move on. And like I said, the Bears will be lucky if they get a 7th next year for him. But I would do it because it works out well for both parties. Barry has to get a late round pick. Whatever team takes him, he could be a really solid depth piece, and he doesn't get paid a ton of money next year. And also, it's only a $1.75 million cut if whoever has him cuts him next year. So you trade him, you get a guy for a depth piece, a veteran, never know when you're going to put it in. And then if you don't want him next year, it only costs you $1.75 million. So I would take a late a seventh round pick, whether it's this year or next year for him at this point. But I wish Nate Davis the best. I think he just needs to change the scenery. I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Cornbread, which offers the first USDA organic CBD gummy bears in the United States. Their CBD gummies are the highest quality full spectrum gummies on the market. And here's what sets them apart. USDA certified organic, made from flower only, never the whole plant, third-party lab tested, true seed to sale tracking, vegan, dairy, and gluten-free, and no artificial flavors or preservatives. And they're proudly grown here in the United States. Cornbread's gummies are safe, they're effective for daily use. And Cornbread offers free shipping and backs all products by their 30-day Better Life guaranteed. 100% legal for those 21 plus. And for those watching, I'm offering a 30% discount on your first order. You go to the link in the description now and use code JAYCHI Bears. That's J Shy Bears to get 30% off your first order. This is the good life. And the third guy I'm going to talk about today is defensive lineman Dominique Robinson, who's played edge, who plays interior, who's played nose tackle, a little bit all over the place. But he's been pretty impressive overall when he does play, which the Bears haven't played him since week 1. 6'5", 253 pounds, 26 years old, 2 years left on his contract with $2 million total owed. I mean, he really doesn't do much. Like a 35.5 overall PFF grade last year, 33.2 against the run, and 45.5 against the pass. But his stats for the very short amount of time that he played actually were decent. 7 total tackles, 3 stops, 1 sack, 4 hurries, and 5 pressures. He's a big dude, and the fact that he moved from edge to interior and he put on all that weight and muscle and everything this past offseason, very impressive. Like, he wants to be on the field. You can see he looks miserable on the sideline, just walking around in street clothes. And it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, the Bears don't see him in the future. He's also not part of Pohl's draft class, or he was part of Pohl's first draft class, I believe. But it's just not working out for him anymore. So he's probably going to go out and get some opportunities because he did have a nice preseason. It was going against the 2s and 3s, but he did make havoc. He had 2 sacks in the preseason, 10 quarterback hurries in 4 games. Obviously made this roster because he impressed enough. But at the end of the day, he's just not playing anymore. This defensive lineman is stacked. You bring in Chris Williams, Darrell Taylor. There's just not room for him anymore. So I think the Bears should get what they can get for Dominique Robinson at this point. It would probably be a 7th this year, a 7th next year as well. I mean, there's different trade packages that this team could do as well, guys. You could put Khalil Herbert and Nate Davis together with like a first and get like a super good player out of it. Just, whatever. You get 2 veterans and they're both done after that, along with the first round pick. Or you just package them all together and get a 7th. It doesn't matter. Just as long as this team can get rid of these guys and get something for them instead of letting them just walk, I think that's what's going to be key for this team. But different packages I'd do Khalil Herbert and Nate Davis. You maybe get a 5th round pick out of it. You do Dominique Robinson and Khalil Herbert. You get another 5th round pick out of it. But you can't, Nate Davis, I feel like you're going to have to package somebody with. So something to look out for. Valus also could be in there. I didn't talk about him today, but overall, this Bears team does have an opportunity to be active at the trade deadline and get some sort of assets, get rid of some cap so we can pay other people, and on top of it, plan for the future. But guys, FGB as always. That's what the Bears news is at the trade deadline. Something can still happen. I got a big video dropping tomorrow for you guys, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And also later this week, we're announcing our Tory Taylor jersey giveaways because we hit 19,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for all the support. So if you hit that subscribe button now, you automatically enter as well. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, bear down, baby.